All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our Black Junior podcast. Man, I hope y'all are excited as we are. Man, we got some special guests lined up tonight. Man, I couldn't have a better lineup tonight. We've got, we got a young gun that's coming on tonight. And we've got what I would call an expert in the index system. We got Mr. Rob Thompson, who has decided to embrace us with his presence tonight. And he's going to be talking about the index, the course ratings, and handicaps, and the whole nine. So what we're going to do, guys, is we're going to start off with our special guest. So let me introduce him real quick. This young man comes to us from Augusta, Georgia. Yes, one of his goals is one day to be able to play at Augusta National. And so Xeve has won over 300 junior golf titles, golf championships. And he was just featured, and this is the first time I've had a chance to meet him. He was featured on the Today Show a couple of weeks ago, did an awesome job on the show, very articulate, very well-mannered. I can tell he's raised by some parents that not only wants him to be good in golf, but they want him to be good in life. And so Xeve Perez, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Mr. Thompson.
Oh, you're more than welcome, man. So like I said, I know this won't be your last interview. You got that personality. And give me 1 second. Let me make sure the lines are clear because we're going to get some Q&A at the end, okay? So Xeve, man, you're doing some awesome things. Talk to us a little bit about how did you get in the game of golf?
So right after my papa, he got done with the military, he picked up the sport of golf. And one day he was working on a club, and there was this little golf club just laying around. And I just crawled up to it and just started swinging it. And ever since, I fell in love with the game. Good.
And so what are some of the things that you feel, Xeve, that's giving you that extra edge in terms of being a really good junior?
Usually just when I'm having something wrong with my game, I usually try to spin and try to fix it when I'm on the range.
Okay.
And try to fix the problem. But one other thing I got's a little secret weapon, and it's a prayer. So I'm going to say it right now, and this is how it goes. So it goes like this. Baby Jesus, please bless me with the strength and courage to do good in this match, and hopefully I can win. Amen.
Wow, Xeve, you just made the podcast.
I don't really trick time. Now we're 10 minutes a day, and then 20 minutes this hour. No, I usually just train until I figure out the problem of my swing, and just try to perfect it.
Awesome. And so Xeve, talk to us a little bit about what's your practice routine. I hear you say you get a lot of practice in. So tell us your practice routine when you go to the course.
It usually starts off I get about a medium bucket. I head to the range to warm up a little bit. Once I'm done with that, it's always playing on the course. So I'll go with my coach onto the course, and if I'm doing something wrong, he'll correct me with it. Mm-hmm. But because for me, it's usually playing. I don't really like to be on the range all day because I love to get on the course. And then while I'm just playing, I'm just having fun.
Good. So you just answered my next question. Are you having fun on the golf course?
Yes, that's just what I think it is. A little bit of practice. To me, a little bit of practice, discipline, but the most thing of all is just having fun, because if you're not having fun, I mean, it's not fun, then you got to do something else. But to me, I'm always out on the course, having fun, just having a little smile on my face. It's just been pretty good. That's just what I think.
All right, so now let's flip it a little bit, Xeve. When you're having a bad day on the course, what are you thinking about? What do you try to do? What's your mindset when you're having a bad day on the course?
I don't really have bad days. I mean,
really,
if I don't like throw clubs or do a temper tantrum because I don't really have bad games. I'm just out there having fun.
Good.
So
Good. All right. Well, I tell you what. Let's flip it a little bit. What do you think about if you're playing bad? Because sometimes golf can be really tough, and so what do you think about when you're not playing at your best?
I just pray to God that I could do a little bit better, and I just believe that I pray to God and believe that it'll help.
Good. So you pray when you're playing bad. You just say a little prayer so God can turn it around, right? Good.
Yeah, and do some practice on the range a little bit.
Good. And Xeve, who's your favorite player?
Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods is period. He's my favorite golfer. I've seen almost everything. I've seen his life story. I've seen his videos. I mean, I even dress like him a lot too.
Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen that Sunday Tiger Red outfit you wear.
I even read his book, Tiger Woods, How to Play Golf. I read that almost every time.
Good. Now I know you have a favorite course. What's your favorite course that you've played before?
Pebble Beach. I played all four. Spanish Bay was good. Poppy Hills was good, and Spyglass was good. But Pebble Beach was the best of all. And plus, playing on the ocean was a little bit of a challenge. That's why I liked it. It was really good.
Yeah,
pretty too.
Pretty too. A lot of wind. It's real pretty, but it's also a tough course, isn't it?
Yes. It's tough.
Right. So Xeve, so you what's your dream course that you like to play one day?
The dream course is the Masters. I hope one day I can become the youngest player to play there, like maybe at 17 or 16. But it just be a dream come true to play at the Masters. I mean, all the greats did it. Tiger did it. Yeah. Jack Nicklaus did it. So if I just get to play there one day, that'd just be a dream come true.
Awesome. Because you don't live too far from Augusta National. How far do you live from Augusta National?
I think about 20 minutes. I think about 20 minutes.
20 minutes from Augusta.
30 minutes. I think. But with traffic, for like 40 minutes. 40 minutes.
Have you ever been to the Masters to see the professionals play?
Yes, I've been there. I've been there one time, and I think that was when Spieth was there, Tiger was. And when I was on the tee box, I said, "Great shot, Tiger!" I yelled it, but
good.
The place to watch the Masters is at home.
Good. So how many hole-in-ones have you had so far?
I had one when I was 6 years old, and then I had one that could have gone in. And when I was I hit it, but since they had the foaming, the pool noodle in,
right?
Because the coat. It went in and just bounced off an inch away from the hole. Wow. And then the one I did when I was 6, I was 3 down. And it was about, when I was 6 years old, I think about 150 or 140 yards. And I hit a hybrid right onto the green. And someone shouted, "It's in the hole!" And Papa thought that was a joke. But other than that, it was just more than a hole-in-one. It was also a double eagle.
Double eagle. Wow. That's awesome, Xeve. That's awesome. So Xeve, we're not going to keep you too long tonight. We know you probably got school tomorrow. So what I'm going to do, Xeve, is I'm going to open up the lines. We've got some juniors on. We've got some parents on. And I want to give them an opportunity to ask you a question or two before we wrap up this particular session, okay? So, parents, juniors, any questions for Xeve Perez? All right, going once. All right, here we go.
I have a question for Xeve. Xeve, first of all, I think you have great energy. I want to thank you for coming on the podcast. I'm not a parent, but I'm a golf instructor, and I mean, you just inspired me just listening to you talk. I'm curious. What's your favorite part of your game? So in other words, do you prefer the putting, chipping? Do you like hitting out of trouble? What do you like most when you're playing golf?
My driver, because I'm pretty accurate at it. I can hit it pretty far too, because off the tee is what I think I can do. I'm the best also. I can hit it about 240 or 230. I'm straight down.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. Awesome. So I'm assuming you've obviously been fitted for your clubs. What age were you fitted for your clubs?
Fitted. I think I started playing my clubs. I played a different club throughout, but the clubs I've been playing now, I think I got fit when I was about 8 years old. I think about 8 years old.
Okay.
Awesome, Xeve. Awesome.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Jamie. All right. Next question for Xeve.
So when you have a bad hole or when you're feeling down, like, how do you combat it and how do you like stay happy?
Also, I have my love coach, my mom, and I do a little. My mom, she cheers me up. Singing usually helps me do that also, or listen to a song also. But the three things that help stay like cheered up is my mom, which is my love coach, singing, and just like taking a deep breath, maybe eat a little snack, maybe. That's how it usually works for me.
Xeve, I'm gonna practice that tomorrow. If I hit a bad shot, I'm gonna start singing on the course. I'm gonna try that, Xeve. Awesome, man. That's great, kids, man. I tell you, awesome.
And also, like, how do you hit it straight and far, and like, how do you like keep the club face straight through the full swing?
I usually try to, usually it's the backswing that I try to focus more, because in the backswing I have to turn my hip so you can get the club square. And when that's done on the backswing, you have to rotate your hips forward. So once you like rotate it, the club will be square. And I mean, you start big swing though. I mean, I try to learn from John Rahm because he has a compact swing, and I'm trying to learn from that, because if I take a big swing, you're going to catch the ball late on the downswing. So if you keep it compact, you can hit it on flush straight down the middle.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome.
You're welcome.
Thank you for those questions, y'all. All right. Any other questions for Xeve?
Hello?
Hey, is that Kendall? Hello? Is that Kendall? Okay, we can't hear you, Maurice. We can't hear you, Kendall. All right. Next question. Let's take the next question for Kendall. For Xeve. Next question.
Wait, hello? Can you hear me now?
Yes. Go right ahead.
Hi. I can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you, Kendall. Yes. All right. I think we lost Kendall again. Hey, Maurice, we can hear you. Okay. All right. Let's move on, guys. All right. Anybody got any other questions for Xeve?
Hey, Xeve, this is Robert. Hey, just want to tell you that you are an amazing kid. I can see that in 5 minutes. I've seen you on here, and I've got a feeling one day I'm going to be bragging about the fact that I got to talk to you when you were a kid.
Yeah.
So, hey, one question I have is, do you play with many grown-ups? What do you learn playing with any adults, or do you primarily play with juniors during your outside of tournament play?
I usually play with grown-ups all the time. I play with my papa, and recently it was pretty recent. I won second in the club championship, and I was the only kid out there. A lot of them were all grown-ups, and I came in second place.
You still on?
Well, sorry, I'm hearing you.
No, that's amazing. That's amazing. When you keep it up, again, I'm going to brag one day about meeting you.
So last question, Xeve. Can you beat Dad?
Oh yes, I can beat. I figured I could start beating him when I was 5 years old, and it used to be like, it was pretty like tense. Like I would beat him by 2 or just 1 stroke, but now I can beat him by 7 strokes. But in 9 holes now, when we play Tina, I can beat him by like 10 strokes or 12.
So Xeve, you're gonna have to start giving him a couple of strokes aside, you know? Right, go ahead, take
he takes a lot more.
Oh, he gets a lot more.
Oh, that's his thing. 2 off the first tee. I'm like, nope, we're playing square. But I said, you can do 2 off the first tee, but I'll just play my ball.
Right. That's awesome. Well, listen, Xeve, we have absolutely enjoyed you being on the podcast. We are so looking forward to you having a really bright future, and the best of luck. Stay on the podcast as long as you like. We've got some great, we got 2 more guests that's going to talk about some things, and I think you can definitely learn from some of the things that we're going to talk about. Okay, so again, thank you for being on, and
thank you, sir. It really means a lot to me and my parents and my family.
Hey, well, listen, tell your parents we really appreciate you, them allowing you to be on, because they didn't have to. They didn't know me from a can of paint, but they were willing to come on.
Just thank you so much once more, and anytime it just be great. I'm just kind of a little amazed right now.
Good. Well, thank you for being on. And so, guys, we are excited. We've learned a lot from Xeve. And so next up, guys, is a special guest on our podcast tonight. We have Jamie Taylor, who's from the Black Golf Directory. And for those of you who don't know, I'm gonna get Jamie to tell you a little bit about herself and tell you about the Black Golf Directory. She's doing some amazing things. She also has a podcast that she's going to tell you about. And we are so excited to have her on tonight. So, Jamie, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, Ro. Appreciate you allowing me to have this time. And apologies for a little running behind. I have to tell you, I know how much work this involves, and so I appreciate you for putting this type of event together on a monthly basis, because it is a lot of work. I've been there. Right. So I'll briefly tell you about myself. My name's Jamie Taylor. Like you said, I live in the Orlando, Florida area, although I'm originally from Cleveland, Ohio. I'm an LPGA professional, and I currently work for the LPGA headquarters in Daytona Beach, Florida, as a program director for the foundation. And so that's my day job. The Black Golf Directory is a website that I developed in January of this year for the purpose of trying to have a place where people can find African-American professionals, whether they be tour players, teaching pros like myself, or club pros, as well as Black coaches. I highlight high school players, I highlight junior programs, amateur groups, and Black businesses that are owned by African-Americans in golf. So it was something that I just knew we needed, because when you Google search Black golfers or Black golf professionals, you would get some of the typical names that you would see, like Tiger Woods and Renee Powell and so forth. But there's just so many more of us out there that are doing great things, and I wanted to be able to showcase that through the website. So please visit it if you haven't had a chance. If you know any high schoolers that play golf that want to be featured, definitely put them on there. The purpose of them being on there is so that hopefully coaches can find them that way to recruit for college golf. So that's the website. But the reason I asked Ro to give me this opportunity to speak with you tonight is one of the things that came up, and I do this through my website and my podcast, but now I'm doing this with this event that I'm having come up, is we have a lack of Black interns in our programs and on the corporate side. So obviously there's a lack of Black employees, but internship programs is where I'm focused on. And so I've gotten the AJGA, USGA, I think you guys know what that means, but AJGA, American Junior Golf Association, USGA, United States Golf Association, PGA, and of course my job, LPGA, have all agreed to do webinars with me to talk about their internship programs, and specifically talk about not only what they offer, but what students need to do to become viable candidates as for internship programs, as well as hear from former interns that can kind of share with you the experience. And I want to just emphasize that most of our interns, at least definitely the LPGA, are not golfers. So the assumption that you have to be a golfer to work for the golf industry is false, but a lot of people assume that you can come from any background, because just like any other corporation, we have accounting department, we have HR, we have marketing, we have IT. So I want to be able to share that information with as many people in our community, because I think that's the main thing, is they also want to increase diversity in their internship programs. The other reason why we're doing it soon, which is, I would say the date time frame is going to be the last week of September through October. The reason why we're doing it at this time is because most of the internship applications open up now, and they hire them for the next upcoming season, whether it's a spring internship or summer. What often happens in the past is they'll do a live conference of some kind or career fair, but it happens in May, like at the PGA Works Championship, which is a tournament for historically Black colleges and universities. And by then the internships are already filled. So then it's too late to apply. So I wanted to do something early enough to get the information out. So even if you don't have a child that's even close to the age of being an intern, and it's still worth going to watch these webinars, and they most likely will be pre-recorded, which will be good because you can watch them at your leisure. But the idea is that you can spread the word to other Black youth that might be interested or never thought about it. I know coming up, I played golf my whole life. I went to college to play golf I didn't go to a predominantly Black school, but I went to play golf and never knew about these internships until long after I graduated. So my goal is to get the word out there, educate our community on the opportunities, and hopefully drive a lot more applicants to them, because I know a lot of them genuinely do want to diversify their programs. So that's pretty much it. Like I said, the time frame would be the last week of September through October. I'll be doing a lot of promotion on social media. I'll be sending out newsletters, but ideally you would sign up so that I could send you directly the links to the information, and I would just ask you to just share, so that one, they can see that this is needed and I can promote it in the future for, in the coming years. But two, I genuinely just want to grow the diversity in the internship and hopefully employment of the golf industry.
Okay, thank you so much, Jamie. And Jamie, what's the age range on the intern program?
So a lot of them are more like junior year of college and up. However, some of them can start as young as freshman year. I'm even bring in Youth on Course, which actually does high school age. Yeah. So I would say, it varies, but a couple of them, they do junior year and up because they really genuinely want to get people that they know they can hire when they're done interning.
Awesome. Okay, any questions for Jamie from the Black Golf Directory? Any questions? All right, going once, going twice. Okay, Jamie, thank you so much for delivering that information from those institutions. We love having you. You can come on anytime, and thank you so much for everything. Okay.
Thanks for having me. And if something does come up, please feel free to contact me through the website www.blackgolfdirectory.com, because I will be passing on those questions to the contacts of the people that are going to be doing the webinar. So if you have any questions you want answered, please let me know.
Okay, I think we might have a question for you. Mo, you got a question for Jamie?
I just want to say thank you. I catch your podcast a lot during the week, so I appreciate not only the information that is shared, but the different speakers that you have on. So it's very beneficial.
Thanks, Mo. Yeah. No, that's a whole nother thing. If you guys want to hear about Black people in the golf industry that are doing things, Black golf architects and so forth, I think this week we're going to be featuring a Black golf superintendent and PGA professional. That's definitely something you should listen to. Awesome.
Yeah, those are some good categories, Jamie. All right. Do we have a question from Kenji? No?
I actually have a question. I'm proud for what you're doing, man.
Thank you, Miguel. Thank you, Xeve.
Yeah, Xeve.
Thank you so much. It took me a while to find the button.
That's okay.
All right. Thanks, Jamie.
Thank you.
All right, guys. I mean, this podcast is really fire. We're doing some amazing things on the Black Junior podcast and Junior Golf podcast. And so on my next guest, you all, you probably want to get your notebook. You probably want to get your tablet. You're probably going to want to take a couple of notes from this guy. Rob Thompson comes highly recommended by a very good friend of mine. and I play golf with a gentleman by the name of Kevin Montgomery. And every time we play, Kevin says, "Man, I got this guy named Rob. Man, he's just really smart. Man, this guy is," and he's tried to explain to me the index system like 10 times, and I still can't figure it out. so Rob, you come highly recommended, y'all. By the way, y'all, Rob is from Pinehurst, North Carolina. And so many of you, you know Pinehurst. In doing my research, Rob is one of the best when it comes to explaining the index, the course rating, et cetera. I'm gonna ask him some questions, and I'm gonna just let him go and do his thing. But Robert, hey, welcome to the show. How you doing tonight, man?
Hey, thanks a lot for having me. So, so I did want to say that, I'm not a club pro. I'm not a professional. I am a fairly low handicap player. We've been playing 30, 35 years or so. But one of the things that I found over the years as we introduce new players to the game, and especially as more African Americans are getting introduced to the game, I want to help individuals navigate the nuances. Golf is a tough enough game. Technically it's tough. Knowing where you're supposed to stand is tough. Where you're not supposed to be is tough. So the rules are tough, and scoring is tough. And so particularly around the World Handicap System. And so I am not an expert, as Rose says, but I do play in a lot of club events, and I've been playing for a long time, and I've been around a lot of clubs most of my life. So it is something that I feel kind of a responsibility to help get people up to speed so we're better informed and more knowledgeable of the game in its totality.
So Rob, quick question for you. So first question, Rob, what is a handicap?
So first of all, we work under a system called the World Handicap System. There was a major modification made this past year with the guidance of the two biggest governing bodies in golf, USGA and RNA. I think I would say that I think handicapping is probably one of the most misinterpreted aspects of the game, and the terminology can be a little confusing. Okay. The most common misconception, I'm going to tell you what it's not first. The most common misconception is the fact that most people think that it represents your average performance. That is not the case statistically. It kind of, I guess it's best phrased as a representation of the potential of your game based on your most recent performance. And I know that's nuanced language there, but it's a difference. So, for example, I hear a lot of guys, and this is kind of the thing that makes me cringe. They say, I normally shoot about 82, so I'm a 10 handicap. Well, that's not the case. And I don't think the handicap system isn't perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but I think it does help to allow for competition between different players, with different skill level players, I should say, and make the competition as fair as possible. I think it obviously helps us create a situation where you have an understanding of your potential, and you can measure that against other competitors. So again, the handicap system is not perfect, but what you're looking to do is have a numerical representation, which is typically referred to as a handicap index that demonstrates what your potential is.
And Rob, if you don't mind, expand on that a little bit when you say the system is not necessarily perfect.
Okay, so I think first of all, the system is only as good as the integrity of the players. That's the biggest issue. You've got hopefully the vast majority of players out there carry handicaps that are indexes that are truly representative of their game. But you do have people that fall into two different camps. You have sandbaggers who post artificially high scores in order to gain advantage in competition. And you have people who have vanity handicaps who would like to say, I'm a +2 and, they can't crack an egg. So that is one aspect. The other piece of the system that I think is not perfect, right, is that you can't use someone's index as a true indicator as to what they're gonna, or predict what they're gonna shoot in a singular round. Mm-hmm. So, for example, in its totality, and I'll talk about it a little bit later, your handicap is based off of the best 8 of your last 20 differentials. So mathematically, that would suggest that you're only gonna shoot better than your number 20% of the time. And so, and I think what gets lost in the handicap system a little bit is a level of consistency. So, I've got a buddy who's, he's like a plus 2.5, and always shoots between 68 and 72. Gotcha. So he has a consistent mapping. And so in his case, it's very predictable. Right. Myself, on the other hand, I'm a 3. And in my last 20 scores, I've got a 70 and an 84. So, if I'll say I'm a 3 and I show up to play with you and I shoot an 83, you probably walk away and say, "Oh, you're a bum. You're lying about that. You're not a 3." Right. But it happens. And so again, it represents what you're capable of doing, not necessarily what you can predict that you're going to do.
Awesome. So Rob, how do you get an index? You were real specific on that. How do you get an index?
So this access had always used to be a very big problem for people. So when I was growing up, you had to be a member of a club to get an index. You could do the math at home, but it wasn't official. And so nowadays, most state organizations offer e-clubs. So here in North Carolina, we have, based on regions, you have Carolina's Sand Hills, Carolina's Charlotte, and I think up in Raleigh around this Triad or something of that nature. But you can join an e-club. You don't necessarily have to be a member of a physical club now to get an index. The systems now are so easy. I mean, there's a Gen app on your phone or your PC that you can use, and so it's great. And I think the Gen app has expanded in the most recent iterations, that you can now enter more advanced stats than you used to be able to put in, so you can analyze some of the weak spots in your game. So, and it's about $35 a year, so it's not a huge investment. And I really encourage people to get an official index, especially if they play a lot of competitive golf.
Right. So Rob, let's say I'm in a club, I'm entering scores. Tell me a little bit about how that number is calculated.
All right. So, I mean, the first thing with explaining it is that it's some fairly advanced math. I shouldn't say advanced math, a lot of inputs into the math. Good. But one thing for everyone to understand is you don't necessarily have to know where the calculations come from in order to have an index. So if we start talking about it and it sounds too convoluted and it turns you off from being interested in having one at all, don't let it, because the software and the systems out there now make it so easy for you. And so it shouldn't be a problem. Right. But so they're kind of three, to answer your question, the 3 key components. It starts with an adjusted gross score, a course rating, and a slope rating. And so the course rating is what a scratch player would expect to shoot from that set of tees on that given course under normal conditions. The slope rating is something that was, and I forget the exact year it went into play, but it's one of the later components to the math, and what it indicates is how incrementally difficult is that course for a bogey golfer versus a scratch golfer. So if you're playing a course that is all straightaways, no forced carries, very few out of bounds. Let's say you're playing in Kansas. Mm-hmm. You might have a course rating that's fairly low. But if you're playing a place that has a lot of forced carries, especially like where Jamie lives in Florida, you've got a lot of water, Courses tend to be tighter down there, a lot of out of bounds. The slope rating is higher. And the difference in that is somebody who's a 3 handicap probably is not worried about hitting the ball over a hazard that's 160 yards out. But somebody who's a 20, that's a real issue. And so it kind of seeks to separate that. And the other thing is the adjusted gross score. Mm-hmm. So, and the term adjusted is out there because you could shoot 120 theoretically and post a 90. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of an anti-sandbagging application. It used to be in the old handicap system, it was considered equitable stroke control, and it was a tiered system based on what your index was the maximum score you could post on a hole. But the new rules make it a little easier to interpret, and it's basically net double bogey. So it's 2 strokes. It's 2 strokes. More than you would get on any hole where you have a stroke. And so it's simple as that. When I say when you have a stroke, where your course handicap indicates that you have one. And so go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was gonna ask you another question.
Yeah. So from that, on every round, you have to establish what's known as a differential, and that's loosely what people consider how many over or under par they are. But that's not exactly correct. You take the adjusted gross score minus the course rating, and you multiply that times the slope rating divided by 113. And the 113 is a fairly arbitrary number that's used as a base with slopes. And so that comes out to a differential. And ultimately, your index is going to come from the average of those best 8 differentials of your last 20 scores, rounded to the nearest 10. So again, you don't necessarily need to learn that calculation, but just understand the basis of it and the theory behind it, and it'll help you understand why your buddy who's a 10 handicap shot 103 last week, because it happens statistically sometimes, and vice versa.
Yeah, I've seen that definitely happen, Robert. So Robert, how do I apply these index to actual matches?
So you want to convert that into what's referred to as a course handicap. Mm-hmm. And the course handicap calculation is simply you take your handicap index, you multiply that times the slope rating divided by 113. Mm-hmm. Now you add the course rating minus par. And so what happens is what the course rating allows you to do is to play different courses of different difficulty levels and still have equitable match. So if I'm a 5 handicap, mm-hmm. A 5 index on course A, and I go to play a much easier course, I'm going to shoot lower scores. But with those calculations, it will seek to make all things equal. And so that's the driving factor behind that.
Right. And you had mentioned earlier, I know you had mentioned a couple of things already about how the calculations had changed. What are just a few more of those changes that's actually happened?
Well, under the old system, you used to count the best 10 differentials of your last 20. In the new system, you count the best 8. I mentioned the other one, another big difference before. You now the most you can post on any given hole is a net double bogey versus the old equitable stroke control table. Updates happen every night now. That's another good thing. They used to. Back when I was a kid, we used to go inside and write the number on a piece of paper, and about a month later, you get a little handicap card telling you what you had. But today, when you enter your score, you get your index updated every night now. Wow. That's versus twice a month in the old system. Right. And there's a new concept out there around weather adjustments that looks at how everyone who played on that course on a given day did relative to their index. And it basically works to try to recognize some adverse condition which would have artificially inflated or deflated scores. And so you may post one number, but it may be adjusted within a couple of days to a different number or a different differential.
Right. So now, Robert, this sounds like a lot of information, and it could confuse a lot of people and just sound real complicated. What would you say to somebody that's saying, man, I don't know about all that? Well, I mean, what would you say to people like that?
Yeah, probably the biggest thing that I would say is just reiterate the fact that you don't necessarily need to do the math. You don't need to know how to do the math. It's nice to understand the concepts, but the systems take care of it. So you don't have to worry about anything other than what's the most you can post on the score on a hole, what tees you played from, and plug it in. The other thing is the fact that, ultimately, the goal of the system is to create an equitable playing field for everybody. You want to be able to measure your ability and get some, pretty objective benchmarks as you, track your performance and or I guess your improvement. And then also it adds, especially as I see more and more individuals sponsoring tournaments or wanting to play in tournaments, you get access to tournaments that you may not have access to, and it also adds credibility to the tournaments if you're sponsoring those things.
Hey, and Robert, it's funny you say that, because one of the tournaments that I registered my son for, I think it was can't remember if it was a hurricane or HAGA tournament, but they asked for his handicap. I'm like, oh, he doesn't even have a handicap. So I was able to get with, I think it's Course on Youth. I think that's the name of Youth on Course. And we started establishing his handicap, probably his index about 3 months ago. And so now
great.
He's got a real one. He can, plug that into any application for a junior tournament. And so that it's been really helpful. I think it's going to be really helpful moving forward. So appreciate all that info. So any questions, guys, for Robert out of Pinehurst, North Carolina? Got any questions for Robert? Anybody? Any questions for Robert? Okay.
Hey, this is Kevin. I got a question.
Go ahead, Kevin.
Because this is one Rob always beats me up on, right? So, and we've interchanged it even on this conversation, and it's become a pet peeve of mine. So, for clarity, do you have a handicap or do you have an index?
You have a handicap index. But when you go play on a particular course, you then have a course handicap.
All right, so
Kevin, that's semantics.
So Robert, let's I'm going to ask you a question from an amateur standpoint. So, like Kevin said, I know y'all said you have a handicap index, but so generally, if I'm talking to somebody, I'm not going to ask the person what's their handicap. I'm going to ask them what's their index. Is that the proper way to ask a person?
It's the proper way, but it's kind of tinged with bouginess when you do it. So you can just say, what's your handicap if you want to.
Right.
But technical, right?
But technically, that's correct.
Okay.
You have personally, you have an index, and the handicap is it's the course handicap, right?
You use your index as part of the calculation to establish a course handicap for a round you're going to play.
Okay. See, Ro, I'll get it eventually, man.
See, Kevin has a handicap index. No, just kidding. All right. So, all right, y'all. Well, listen, this has been a great podcast. Any additional questions for Robert Thompson?
I have a question.
Oh, yeah, go right ahead.
So we don't have a handicap. We have a app, Golf Shot. So we just kind of have record every time we play, or my son plays. So it says in there that you can get a handicap index, but you have to purchase the GIN number. So if you do that through a club, we're not members of any club. We just play like different clubs, private or semi-private. But if we buy the gin number through them, would it be calculated based on that particular course? Because we play different courses. So we'd record like different tournaments, different golf courses we go. Is it like specific to that place where we register?
So that's a good question. So what you do is if you don't belong to a physical club, you would belong to a virtual or e-club is what's referred to through your state golf organization. But every golf course that you play, they have an extensive database in the GEN system. You can just look it up by state, by name. You would enter the course you played by both the course and the set of tees that you're playing. Now, I will say, I'm not sure how old your son is. If he's playing I think Jamie may know more about this than I do, because the junior programs weren't nearly as advanced when I was a kid. But if he's playing from the forward tees, those tees would be in there. I don't know if every course would have a registered set of tees or tee markers that are in front of what's considered the forward tee. So that's the only thing that will be of concern.
So when we play now, he plays the white tees, the men's tees.
But
in good tournaments, they play yellow tees. They're forward. Right. In the U.S. kids tournaments. But when we play regular to practice, he plays the regular white tees.
Yeah, so long as the tees have been rated and they're in the database, you enter it. So it's just like playing a different course. So you go in again, you search on state, search the club or the course, and then enter the set of tees you're playing from.
And Robert, I did want to let everybody know about this. I think Sean is on here. Sean out of Oklahoma. He turned us on to Youth on Course. And Youth on Course only charges juniors $5 for a index, and they can play at most courses for, I think, maybe $5 or $10 as well. So, Sean, is that about right, Sean?
Yeah. I was just going to say that instead of paying for it's probably $30, I believe, for the through the USGA to get your handicap. If you do the Youth on Course, when they send that card, it'll have your son's index number on the card, and then he should be able to register through that for his index, I believe.
Right, that's correct, Sean, because that's how I did John's a couple months ago. Youth on Course is a great program where he can establish an index, and I think it's E something, like Robert was saying, E.
And even if you don't have courses in your area that he can play on, it's still worth the $10 just to get the index, and it's throughout the United States. So, for example, when we were down in Pinehurst last month, he could have played like number 2 and 8 for $5 at Pinehurst, So just all throughout the United States.
Can I get that?
Right.
Okay, y'all. All right. Any other questions for Robert before we get ready to wrap up this Junior podcast? I think it's been great.
I have one question.
Go ahead, Xeve.
The handicap index matter if the course is par par 30? Does the handicap index change if the course is on par 30?
Yeah, so you're playing. I'm sorry. So it's a part of the playing. You're playing. I'm sorry. Your course handicap, and so as long as it's rated, even par 30 courses, we have some short courses around here, and they do establish course ratings and slope ratings. And one other thing to note is that you can enter a 9-hole score, and it'll simply combine the next time you play a 9-hole to establish a full score.
And Robert, one more thing I noticed as part of the index now, it's they also have in there if you were playing at home or if you were playing away, a tournament. So they got a couple of different variables in there as well too.
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
Good. All right. Well, listen, y'all. Thank y'all so much for being a part of the Black Junior Golf podcast. It's been a great night. Thank y'all so much for being on. We'll see y'all next time. Have a good night.
All right. Bye-bye.